In this video, we're going to bring a whole new dimension to our design through space. Also, we'll learn the different ways to group elements or objects within the composition. Let's get started. Space in a two-dimensional design creates a third dimension. We can achieve this illusion through depth. Say if we take two alike objects and scale them differently, we have achieved the illusion. We know these two objects are the same when side by side, but when one is in front of the other, we've created depth. So from a side view, the objects might look like this. When we are questionable or think there are two or more possible meanings to the actual layout, this is what we call ambiguous space. It's questionable space. So for instance, if we have two squares where one appears to be popping up, or, wait, is it set in? This is what we call ambiguous space. It's a pretty cool trick or usage of space if you want to, say, trick the viewer. Now, if the squares are overlapping, making no sense of space, this is known as impossible space. Another way to view depth in space is through atmospheric perspective. We can achieve this illusion by blurring out the smallest or furthest looking object, or by applying darker tones to the objects that appear to be further back. So again, we can do this by either blurring the smallest object or by making it darker, simply applying those two features to the furthest object, which is the smaller object. My favorite illusion is linear perspective. This is when we take a straight line, which we refer to as the horizontal line, and add 2 points on either side called vanishing points. Now, when we connect our lines to two stacked dots below the horizon line, we are able to create a third-dimensional object. This technique comes in super handy when creating point-of-view compositions. The last illusion I would like to show you uses mass to achieve a third dimension. We simply create an object that appears to have weight to it. We can take a circle and turn it into a three-dimensional sphere by simply adding shading to the circle to make it appear to be a three-dimensional sphere. Now, I would like to mention two words you're going to hear a lot in design, and that is white space. White space refers to the comparison of elements within a composition. You might hear a phrase like, "Let the logo breathe a little bit more." Simply add more white space around the logo, or space between the elements. This is referring to the white space. By adding more white space around the logo itself, we're letting it breathe a little bit more. We're letting it stand out. Now that we understand space, let's take a look at grouping. The word grouping simply means the unity or connection of two objects. Now there are different forms of connections these objects can have. Take a look at these two objects right next to each other. They are referred to as having a touching group. If the objects are on top of one another, they are known as overlapping. Even if the objects have a low transparency, the objects might form a third object through overlapping transparency, thus creating a new color. If the objects form a new singular object, it's called a union grouping. If the objects are intersecting, which cancel out each other, this is called subtraction. The piece canceled out is known as the intersection. These principles are known as the Gestalt Principles: touching grouping, overlapping, transparency, union, subtraction, and the intersection, which is the canceled out piece within the two pieces that are subtracting. When we look at the composition of objects that appear closer than others, they automatically appear grouped. This is because the proximity or measurement between them is closer than others. Another way to group objects is through similarity or continuity in size, shape, color, and space. There is also a principle called common fate, which states that objects moving in the same direction belong together. Take, for example, falling dominoes. They appear to be falling in the same direction, thus we automatically group them together. Another principle states that if objects create another object, this is known as grouping through familiarity. Space and grouping are very strong tools in creating a solid, aesthetically pleasing design. Do you think you have the tools? Test your knowledge in this next quiz.